Hello everybody, welcome to the County Seat today. I'm your host, Chad Booth. We are going to be talking today about government associations. Why does a series of local county governments need to band together and form yet another organization to help them manage events? Well, it takes a lot of forms and shapes, and some of them are literally things that happen on the ground, as we find out right now.
Solutions can be hard to find without some perspective on the issue. 50 years ago, we went to the moon to get a closer look and had vastly expanded our horizons here on Earth. Today's exploration isn't quite as big a leap for mankind, but it has presented an opportunity to get bureaucrats out of the office and into the wide-open stretches of western Millard and Juab counties.
That's right, miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles. Having the history that goes with it is what makes it interesting for people. You take a look at small little microcosms and life is great. You look at big expanses and sometimes nothing catches your attention and you go, well, there's nothing here. Same with the issues. You get them closer to them, they learn more about them. At a distance, they might not even exist.
And that's the point of today's natural resource meeting with the 6-County Association of Government, a group made up of Juab, Millard, Paiute, Sanpete, Sevier, and Wayne counties. Big changes are on the horizon for the area as the Intermountain Power Plant converts from coal to natural gas by the year 2025, impacting some 300 jobs in the area. Those impacts start at the plant and will have a ripple effect across rural Utah, with additional impacts on trucking, railroads, mining, and the service industries who serve those workers and their families. Farther down the road is a mining operation that provides approximately 80% of the world's beryllium, an important natural resource that makes up products ranging from electronics like a cell phone to the vital systems for space exploration and national defense. Additional stops throughout the day included the remnants of a beacon that was part of the transcontinental air mill system out of LA to Salt Lake, as well as highlighting the impacts that overdrawing an aquifer are having on the Clear Lake wildlife management area. All of these sites contain important natural resources that are easily overlooked if they don't get discussed, highlighting the importance of tours like this one today.
Different counties have distinctly different problems, but they also have a set of problems that are identical. They just happen in a different location.
It's important to me that I understand these issues so that I can relay them, because when you are sitting back in DC or frankly any place on the East Coast and you're thinking about especially policy dealing with things like lands, the quantity of land that we have here in the West and in Utah, with 67% of our lands federally owned, is a concept that people can't wrap their head around when they've never experienced it. They just can't.
When you make policy, you come down here and you can see the consequences of wildfires, you can see the consequences of drought, you can see the consequences of erosion, and understand that when you make policy, there's people's livelihoods at stake. And I think this trip has been instrumental in getting to understand how those policies over the years have affected folks and their way of life here.
Having 2, 3, 10 people look at a problem always presents more options than just having one person who has their own set of experience to apply to the problem. So oftentimes you'll find an answer that was absolutely simple that you would have never thought of yourselves.
A day out of the office changes the dynamic of a typical meeting, giving an opportunity to interact and network with people from different parts of the state.
Having these relationships really makes a big difference, because when there are questions or issues that come up, or when we're looking at where our efforts ought to be focused, if we know who we can call and what the conversation ought to look like and what the issues are here on the ground, it makes it easier for the senator to do his job and for us to do our jobs as we work for him.
Everyone would like to know more. And there are subjects that have never crossed the horizon of their thoughts before. Once they're introduced, they become very eager to learn more about it. How does it work? Where did it come from? All of the W's in the how question.
For the county seat, I'm Derek Dowsett.
We've seen one field tour that's been sponsored by an AOG, where people get together and talk about issues. Now let's take a look at the broader picture of what the associations of government across the state of Utah can accomplish for you, the local citizen, and your county governments. We will be right back in just a minute.
Make your next adventure at Bear Lake. The Bear Lake Valley has something for everyone, all year long. Scenery, skies, water, or wildlife. You'll find what you're looking for at Bear Lake. Bear Lake, where families play year-round.
Mountains to explore. Adventure to be had. A town to fall in love with. Yes, all that in Park City, Utah. Start your adventure at visitparkcity.com.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are having a conversation today with members of the 6 county associations of government, or the 6 county AOG as it's known. Joining us for our conversation, Newell Harward, who is the chair of that august organization currently, and also a Wayne County commissioner. We also have Travis Keel, who is the deputy director of the 6 county association. Thank you, Travis and Newell, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay. So we got an idea of something that you do with this natural resources tour, and you've got a project that you're just right now engaged in. Talk to me about the importance of the strength in numbers when you're dealing with, say, the state or Washington.
Well, to start off with that question, if we, as a county that I represent, not just the 6th county, if we were to try to do something to influence the different organizations of the government, like the federal agencies as well as state agencies and others, we wouldn't be very effective. So having an association like we have, where we can communicate with other members of a board, which we have from each of the 6 counties, which is a county commissioner plus a mayor from one of the cities in those counties come to the county meetings that we have once a month, and then we have a board meeting and have an agenda, and we deal with problems that exist throughout, not only problems, the positive things to help us with economic development and other issues, as well as the many benefits that the AOG provides, the Association of Government provides for our citizens.
So, Travis, there are how many AOGs in the state of Utah?
There's 7.
7 of them.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've taken 240 some odd cities, and we've taken 29 counties, and we've divided them into 7 subset groups. From your perspective, administrating, does that give you the sufficient leverage to help try and represent your region?
Yeah, I think it helps. You know, as we have these different events and forums, As the commissioner said, when we can get members of a state organization or from Washington there, and they can look around and here's a commissioner from 6 counties, you know, one from each county or multiple commissioners there's a little bit of power or a little bit of weight behind that. It's not just one commissioner or one county asking for some help or discussing an issue. It's collectively as a region, and I think anytime you get the needs or the wants of a region together, you're going to have better success.
You know, in the story that we aired, Commissioner Draper, who's a member of 6 County from Millard County, talked about and made a specific the point that while there are certain issues that are specific to a county, most of them have spillover. Do you feel that we've regionally represented the state correctly in the makeup of 5 counties, 6 counties, 7 county, and whatever numbers we have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have, and you know, all 6 of our counties are very, very similar. You know, Juab might have a couple little smaller issues as they're closer to the Wasatch Front, but we still address those and deal with those. You know, and even then, the boundary lines are drawn, but we're willing to work with other AOGs. You know, one of our events we have coming up this week, we're working with the 5 County Association of Governments because the issues spill over into their region as well. So not only between our 6 counties, but all 11 counties share some issues, and we're happy to work with them and promote the needs of all 11 counties if we have to.
Can you pull off a little bit bigger of a feat when you've got 2 of the budgets and staffs of 2 of the organizations working together?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, anytime we can, for this specific event, say, hey, 11 of Utah's 29 counties are putting on an event and we'd love to have you come. That's a big deal. 33 commissioners have invited people to come and you know, see what's going on.
You know, now through the years, the most common comment I've heard from viewers who are in the process of watching County Seat and in the process of becoming educated, the most common comment is, why do we have another layer of government with an AOG? Are we not just paying for more administrators? So my question to you, Newell, as a commissioner from Wayne County, who's, by the way, part-time, and
very
like
it's not part. Wait a minute. Yeah. It's not part-time. It's full-time with part-time pay.
Okay.
No, okay. Sorry.
This is very true across the board. But needless to say, regardless of the situation, could your county function properly without its involvement in the association?
Absolutely not. The services that the 6 County Association of Government provide to our county as well as other counties would be impossible for us to provide. And Travis can probably go into each one of those. I could name them, but there's a lot of services that are provided by the 6 County Association that we're totally incapable of doing in a county like ours.
Yeah, at any one time we'll administer between 40 and 60 state and federal contracts, which, you know, between our 70+ employees, if they were being administered at each county level, you're talking 40 to 60 to 70 employees that Wayne County would have to hire and Juab County would have to hire in each subsequent county, versus we hire them one time at a regional level and they cover all 6 counties. So in the end, it's saving taxpayers dollars. So
give us an example of some of that. Where are some of the places in the 6 County AOG that you have pooled resources between the counties and put them under the auspices of the AOG to operate? What kind of programs?
So a big one would be planning, all of our planning functions. So we have 49 communities in the 6 County region. Of those 49 communities, honestly, probably 4 of them actually have a city administrator or a city planner. The others just simply can't afford it or don't have the capacity to do it. And so by pooling the resources together at the AOG, we have planners available and we go out and meet with those communities on a regular basis and take care and help with all of those planning needs. And so that's a great example of where, you know, again, we're saving taxpayers dollars because not every community has to hire a planner, but we're able to take some things maybe we learned at one city and apply them in another city and help spread that workload around and just make it easier for everybody.
So in relation to that, one example of that is working with CIB, Community Impact Board, which is a subject of its own. We go a lot into that. But so the Travis and his planner comes to the county. We work out what our plan is for what we're going to need from CIB. Then they help with the applications. There would be no way that we could just go to the CIB board and get what we want without first going through the 6 County and to the commissioners from each of the cities in our county is how we receive the grants and the loans that come from CIB.
I think this would be very interesting if you know the number, and you may not, because most of the people who watch this program live on the Wasatch Front. I mean, on a percentage, maybe not, but as far as sheer numbers go, most of them are. I don't think they have any concept of how small rural government is. How many employees does Wayne County have? Do you know?
Probably about 25.
For the whole county?
For the whole county.
That's road crew, sheriff, administrators,
yeah.
Clerk assistants.
Yeah, probably, yeah, 25 would be probably as many, maybe. I wish I had the exact number.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, it's good enough to give somebody an idea. If you weren't to have the AOG, how many employees do you think you would have to function properly?
Well, just like Travis said a minute ago, we'd probably have to have nearly as many as they have to service all the programs that are serviced through the AOG.
Are you contracting or hiring more people than his county's got working for him?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Significantly?
Well, between all of our full and part-time employees, we're between 70 and 80 employees at any one given time.
Wow.
At the AOG.
So things that people don't figure. We've taken a little bit of time. I want to come back and specifically point at some of the targets and goals that you're looking at, things that you have accomplished and are trying to accomplish when we continue on the county seat. We'll be right back after this break.
Exploring is an innate part of being human. What if there was a place on Earth that explores your sense of touch, sound, breath, sight, all year long? So take your time and make it monumental. San Juan County, Utah's Canyon Country, is the place to explore your sense of adventure.
All local products have a story of magical places, real people, and delicious recipes spanning generations. So go ahead and discover flavors you've never tasted and friends you never knew you had. Utah's own Discover Local Food.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
I promised my son that if he got straight A's, we would take a guy's trip, just the two of us. We were riding on a trail outside a place called Minersville, Utah. There was so much to explore, and the trail just kept climbing higher, right to the top of a mountain called Jack's Peak. We just stood there with the whole world below us, not saying much. In fact, not a word. Later, my son turned to me and said, "I love you, Dad." Suddenly, I realized we weren't just camping, we were connecting.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking about associations of government. In particular, our case study today is the 6 County Association of Governments. So we've kind of gotten an idea that you guys just kind of lean on each other as a team, the counties, the communities, the cities, and that you guys at the association play a key role in keeping all these moving parts together. But you obviously have goals and ambitions. There are changes that you're trying to affect. And obviously tours is one of them, as we saw with the Natural Resources Tour. What are some of your goals? What do these counties in the 6 county area need to address?
Yeah, so our tours that we're doing, they're educational events. That's what we really want to do is educate people and bring the key players together that can effect change. And so our event coming up this week is our congressional briefing. And typically it's just been our 6 counties, but again, as I mentioned, we've partnered with the 5 County Association of Governments to create a larger event in hopes of effecting more change. And so our goal here is to educate members or the staff from Congress from back east, maybe people that don't understand the challenges that we faced as a western state, and actually bring them back to Utah and put them on the ground and show them firsthand some of the issues that we're facing.
So you've been doing this tour now for like 18 years, longer neither one of you guys have been associated. But I guess the question that raises is who do you target? I mean, is it our delegation? What effect do you try and make? Who do you need to get out here on the ground?
Yes, we're always looking at key players. So you've got the House Natural Resource Committee as well as the Senate Energy and Natural Resource Committee. People that have, maybe we can swing a vote on something like PILT or SRS. And so if we can get some people out here that are willing to listen, and again, we just want to provide an education, maybe on a topic that's it's hard to perceive or understand sitting in an office or a classroom back east, but if you come out and stand on the ground and look at all the public land that we have and everything else that we have going on, and touch it, see it, smell it, feel it, that they can maybe affect some change.
He used the acronym PILT and SRS. PILT stands for Payment in lieu of taxes. So where we have so much federal land, very little tax is paid on it, but it's payment in lieu of that. And a county like ours couldn't survive for a minute without PILT, and SRS is Secure Rural Schools, which is the Forest Service land.
Do they play with it a lot, Congress? I mean,
every year, it's approved every year or not, and it has been, but it's not an ongoing revenue that we do receive in our counties. So it is critical, and as we have these meetings, not only to go out on the ground, like has been mentioned on these tours, to show what's going on the ground and how important it is for the resources of that ground to provide for us. We also, as we meet in our meetings, the congressional staff meet with us and report on what's going on. Every meeting, every month, when we meet, they're there, and they have time on the agenda.
So you guys sometimes make trips to Washington too, right?
We do.
Which is more effective, on the ground here or in Washington, for getting somebody to have the light bulb go on about rural Utah issues?
Definitely on the ground. We go to Washington to invite them, to encourage them to come back, but if you can get somebody here on the ground, standing on a mountain, looking out across, vast public lands of BLM, Forest Service, and looking at an issue with stubble hide or grazing, whatever it may be, it clicks.
Have you ever seen somebody from a really, really urban, big east or west coast city have an aha moment on the ground in any of your tours?
Yeah,
tell about that, Travis.
We've had a bunch. One, cattle and grazing is a big issue that we try to help out with. And when they come back and they hear of grazing, and don't really understand it, but when they stand there and they look and there's a cow, standing there grazing, and we can say to them, well, what do you want us to do with that cow? And they say, well, we don't care what you do with that cow. Well, they should care because it's on public lands, and they tell us what to do with that cow. Even though they may live back east, we're told what to do or how long that cow can be there or how long it can graze, but they don't understand that they have an influence on that. And here it is grazing, and there's no problems, no issues, and everything's working out fine. So it's usually cattle creates an aha moment, just to see. One person asked us where all of our trees were.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, come back for a final segment. I want you guys during the break to think about this question. Prioritize the goals and the needs of your county and what we need to do. We'll do a lightning round when we come back. You're watching The County Seat.
If you're looking for gold at the end of the rainbow, you'll probably be disappointed, because in Paiute County, the only thing you'll find at the end of a rainy day is the promise of adventure. Highway 89 is your access point through Marysville and the historic trails of Bouillon Canyon. Find yourself in the mountains one minute and the desert the next as you follow in the footsteps of the pioneers. Whitewater raft, fish, hike, all within a few minutes of a comfortable bed and a warm meal. Find out why the world has made Paiute County its off-road destination. Paiute County, the place where the rainbow ends.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
Make your next adventure at Bear Lake. The Bear Lake Valley has something for everyone, all year long. Scenery, skies, water, or wildlife. You'll find what you're looking for at Bear Lake. Bear Lake, where families play year-round.
Welcome back to the county seat. We've been talking about the Association of Governments, the 6th county, and some of the projects and tasks that they're undertaking. So, gentlemen, I'm just going to toss one last question out here. What is the one thing that most people are watching the show don't know about or that is important to the 6th county AOG that they should know about?
Yeah, I think it would be all of the human service programs and services that we provide. As I mentioned earlier, we administer between 40 and 60 state and federal contracts. And in our small communities and our small counties, people have to have somebody to rely on. So I'm talking programs like the HEAT program, weatherization program, Meals on Wheels. We administer all of the Meals on Wheels for all 6 counties. We have 12 senior centers out there.
Indigent defense, is that another area and as far on the legal side?
In what?
Indigent defense?
We don't do anything with that, no.
Oh, okay. Any legal services, or is it mostly human services?
It's mostly just human services, yeah. A bunch of state and federal programs that, again, that the counties couldn't run on their own without us. You know, so we still do economic development, we do planning. I mean, we cover so many different things, and really a lot of it is crisis-centered. If someone has a crisis situation with housing, rent assistance, anything like that, they can call us and we can usually come up with a way to help them.
What's the long-term thing that Wayne County's worried about?
Well, the problem we have is during the summer months, we're promoting tourism all the time, but as we promote tourism, it increases our infrastructure need for taking care of tourism. Our search and rescue crews, for example, have done over 15 search and rescues this year alone already, and it's pretty major for a volunteer crew to go out on a regular basis when they're called away from their work to go out and help. And of course our sheriff's department is overworked.
Yeah.
Thank you for some help with some words, but they're overworked and of course underpaid in our county, and we can't pay enough to keep our deputies there. So when we get them trained, they leave and go to other counties.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you for inviting us into your home. These topics are important, and if you're starting to realize that, may I make a suggestion to you? Why don't you go to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and just click on the follow button. And then that way, all the breaking news and all the things that happen during the week that affect county government, you'll get a notice of, and you can choose whether to look at them or not. Remember, local government is where your life happens. Be involved, be part of the solution, and we'll see you next week on the County Seat.